Welcome to our Brothers in Conversation podcast powered by Jesse and Shondell. Shondell, you are from?
Bed-Stuy, Do-or-Die, Brooklyn. That little town.
That's a little town. That's nothing like Hawthorne, Nevada. Population 5,000 cats and dogs. Welcome to our Conversation podcast powered by Jesse Farrell and
Shondell Newsome.
You're in the house. And today is Thursday, December 19th, 2019, episode 16. And we are going to be broadcasting live as always. And our title today is, Are the Holidays a Time for Celebration or Depression?
Yep.
Are the holidays a time for celebration or depression?
Yes.
That is exactly what we're going to vibe on, and we're going to create a great conversation. And we want those of you out there watching or listening to share your comments along the way. And we may take a break and see if Lisa has things that she wants to communicate to us, that you want to communicate to us. And that's how that's going to work. So is this working fine so I can hand this off?
Good. Yeah, that's good. You got your watch party.
I can hand that off to you. Shondell is bringing his
here,
expertise,
party over there.
and he's a singer too.
Yeah,
he's got a little
Teddy this morning.
Teddy, and he's got Luther Vandross in him as well.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start this conversation. Are the holidays a time for celebration or depression? Now, you and I, before we dig into that, you and I were having a conversation, as always,
Yes.
in the green room before we came out.
We're always doing it.
Right, and we were talking about what matters most. And we were talking about, you had a challenge a couple months ago where all of a sudden you came down with this illness.
Yes.
And it was heavy. Like, it stopped you in your tracks.
Yeah, it beat me up.
Tell us what happened with that, because then we have one of our partners that came up sick, and that's where this conversation came in. I'll tag in after you.
Well, I have type 2 diabetes.
Okay.
Let's start with that. So
how do you manage? What does that take to manage?
So to manage it, for me, it's always been diet and exercise.
Exercise is easy for you.
Yeah.
I'll bet the face control is not as easy, because if you like food that tastes good.
Yeah, you want it, right? But really, it became a lifestyle, so it was easy.
You made the choice.
I made the choice.
Okay.
The challenge is whenever you become ill, it's hard for you to follow that regimen. So I eat 6 times a day.
Wow.
I eat
tiny small bills?
Yeah, very small. I eat a very decent breakfast.
Okay.
Snack in between.
Okay.
Decent lunch. Snack in between. And then do dinner. Decent dinner.
Okay.
Snack afterwards. Later toward the evening time.
Wow.
But because of what you're talking about in October, I came down with a touch of the flu. Once I come down with a touch of the flu, it impacts everything internally. So my blood sugar rose above 400.
Right, but let's be real.
Mm-hmm.
You coming down with the touch of the flu is different than me coming down with the same touch of that same flu, because I don't have type 2 diabetes. And so even though it may take me down for the count, it's much a bigger wallop for you, because it's impacting that other challenge that you're already managing.
Much bigger.
Correct?
Much bigger.
Like 5, 7, 8, 10 times the magnitude.
Yes.
Right?
And my doctor says this: most people can get away with, being overweight, being obese.
Okay.
Most people can get away with not working out.
Right.
And really walking around with these big old pot bellies or whatever. You are one of those people, unfortunately, that has to be somewhat perfect. Otherwise, it will mess up your whole body.
It's going to negatively impact you further.
And here's the thing that people have to understand about diabetes. Diabetes has a lot of side effects. So blood flows throughout your entire body. So he said most people don't think about this, but think about your brain.
Right.
Right? There are a lot of little blood vessels that go through your brain.
Sure.
If your blood is not right, that impacts your brain.
Right.
It impacts your feet. It impacts your hands.
Impacts your brain, and that it's not getting the nutrients or the flow. Well, probably my guess is it probably cuts something off, short circuits something.
Short circuit something.
And that short circuit could be a manifestation of a number of different ways, whether it's memory, recall, recognition, on
agitation. And on. I thought my father at times was just unreasonable, but he was just he was a type 1 diabetic. So at times your mind like when they say your mind's playing tricks on you.
Right.
It really does play tricks on you. It really does make you look at Lisa and go, Lisa, I can't stand you right now.
Yeah, for no reason.
For no reason at all.
She didn't earn it.
Not at all. And but in your head, it's rationalized, and people don't see that effect of diabetes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Things. Yeah,
I never even heard of that before. Wow.
The doctor told me that. I didn't even realize it until he said, "Hey, you got to understand." blood flows through your entire body.
Right.
So everything is impacted.
Everything matters.
Mm-hmm.
So when something like that happens, it's a big impact that impacted you personally,
Mm-hmm.
impacted your relationships
Mhm.
from your wife to the children, to
Mhm.
the business partners,
Yep.
to the business,
Yep. To the
to your presence in that business.
Yep.
You had to shut that down
Mm-hmm.
in order to recover.
Yep.
One of our very, very important partners just
Mhm.
became ill. I won't say her name because I didn't get permission,
Mm-hmm.
but she became ill that she did not expect. Super, super healthy person. And it completely, what you and I said is when something like that happens,
Right.
you begin to, not everyone,
Yep.
but some of us will look at life very differently.
Yeah.
You start to measure what matters most.
Mm-hmm.
And before that illness, the things that were important to you may not be important at all in the scheme of things when you look at of how it lines up with what's going on with you right now.
Right.
Like it changes you. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think everything changes you because now you get a chance to reflect. You get a chance to sit back.
Funny
and
you should say reflect.
Yeah.
You just
You start thinking about it.
keep your thought, but I'm going
Mhm.
to come back to reflect because
Right.
you made a major point. You get a chance to reflect on what and for what reason.
Well, you get to reflect because now
Do you get to reflect or do you choose to reflect?
Well, I choose to reflect, and I choose to reflect because now I am now I'm really thinking about all the things that matter to me in life. What's important?
Why?
Because you're in that moment of really honestly, you're saying, am I going to live or die?
Right? Am I going to make
Right?
it?
Am I going to make it?
It's rather than just existing. It's
Yeah.
very different than just existing,
And
right?
it starts to make sense.
Yes.
Right? It's like, I totally understand. Now I know, am I going to live or die? Am I going to have a chance to atone and do all the things that I want to do? What's the problem? What's the challenge? What am I going to be able to do?
Right.
So you start thinking like that.
So that makes you think differently.
Yes.
And so when you're thinking differently like that, you begin to shift priorities.
Right.
Right. Lisa and I always say we live in a world of shifting priorities.
Yes. All day long.
We say that all the time, but most of us don't live it that way.
Right.
Let's go to the holidays.
Yeah.
So great sharing on that part. And 100%. We're going to come back to this point that you talk about reflect.
Yeah.
You choose to reflect.
Yep.
Some people don't. If they don't choose to reflect,
Mm-hmm.
when what seems or feels like or might be a life or death situation impacts them,
Right.
if they don't choose to reflect,
Mm-hmm.
what do they typically choose?
Depression.
Funny you should say that.
I think so. I think it's like this. It's like my father passed away in 2009. You do have a moment of reflection, and you say, "My father loved the holidays." I remember I remember times when he and I went out in the middle of the snow, and I remember he found a lazy boy that was broken down.
Sure.
We dragged it back to our house, put it in the house. He reupholstered it, fixed it up, and he thought it was the biggest thing in the world.
Right.
That was one of my most memorable Christmas days, but I can remember even him with my kids and the Christmas times we had a Christmas going to New York and spending time with my father.
Right.
The interesting thing about all that is I can easily just become so depressed over not having those moments, but I choose to celebrate those moments.
Okay, so the key words you've said so far to me
Mm-hmm.
are choice
Mm-hmm.
or choose, same thing.
Yeah.
And reflect.
Right.
Those are so far the two most magical words. And oddly enough, in your sharing, we're talking about celebration or depression.
Right.
Actually, I won't say that all depression is a choice. Sometimes it's biology driven, where there are things outside of your control that's forcing you or pushing you into a space of depression. So we have to have
Right.
some respect for that.
Right.
But a lot of us choose ourselves into this space of depression as well,
Right.
like you just said. And so for many people, the holidays, which we all sell them like it's supposed to be time to celebrate, but sometimes for many, many, many people, it's a darker period in people's lives.
Yeah.
It's not a celebration. They may play the celebration card or they may fake the celebration, but you can visibly see that they are depressed. They're in a state of depression, or they're frustrated, or they're angry, or they're lost,
Yep.
or they're missing people that are no longer here on the planet
Yep.
at this time of the year. Why do you think people choose that?
I think the biggest problem that we have is people. Most people don't know how to cope or deal with life situations. You and I, we talked about this
Sure.
off cameras, that
Sure.
we look at things from a whole different perspective. We're looking at it from a perspective of what's the best solution to what the situation is right now.
Right.
Most people live in I don't know what that space is called, but they never want to come out of a mode where they have the victimization.
And I know what that space is called. Most people live their lives through what has happened to them. Lise,
Can you help me with this? I can't get on that.
Yep.
most people live their lives
Mm-hmm.
from what has happened to them
Yeah.
or what is happening to them.
Right.
That's the space that you said you couldn't put a name on it.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
You and I have things happen to us,
Right.
and there are things that are happening to us as well. We're no
Right.
different,
Right.
but we made a choice.
Yeah.
Choice is another. Here comes that word choice again.
Yeah.
You and I separately, not to get, we're together now, but we made these same choices, not even in the same
Years ago.
space.
Years ago.
We made a choice to live our lives when something has happened to us or is happening to us.
Mm-hmm.
We immediately assess the situation
Right.
and then determine what are we going to do about what has
Exactly.
happened,
Exactly.
or what are we going to do about what is happening.
Right.
Most people get stuck
Yeah.
in what has happened,
Right. Right.
and they play the woe is me card.
And I'm so glad you brought that up, because I had this conversation even with, and you and I have talked about this before, and this is a little bit off of the holiday topic, but in Black America, I mean, let's just call it like
Okay.
it is, right? So Black America says we should be focused on what was done to us.
Absolutely. Hold on,
Right.
Lisa, you're trying to say something?
You're good to go.
Oh, you, Thank you, Lisa.
Okay, so sorry to interrupt you. Go back. So
Yeah.
Black America. When you
Sometimes-
say that, what you're really saying, let's clear it up. You're talking about what's typical nature in the Black culture.
Yes,
That's
yes.
really what you're
So,
saying.
so we want this sense of this has happened to us, so we need to be up in arms about this happening to us.
Right.
Those of us who choose a different way say, I understand what has happened. However, what are you going to do about it?
Exactly. And quite frankly,
Yeah.
I'm with you on that, Shonda. I
Yeah.
say that, as do you.
Yeah,
The other thing I say to myself is look around.
yeah,
I say it this way. Everybody has their own cross to bear.
yes, yes, yes.
Being Black in America is just one cross to bear.
Yeah, yeah.
You can, if you're fat in America,
Yeah.
you're going to have problems.
And guess what? Here's the thing we're not saying. We're not saying it's not a heavy cross.
No, it's
Right,
no,
because
it's heavy.
It's heavy.
It's heavy, but you know what? That's my responsibility this time around.
Exactly.
That
exactly.
is my cross to bear this
Right.
time around. That's my
Right.
way to upscale, up level, and quite frankly, I think it's there for a reation. But I
Yeah.
want to, I want to
know
say,
it's there for a reason.
but I want to say it's not just a Black culture thing, and I know you're not saying that. It's everybody's too something for someone.
Yeah.
Too tall,
Yeah.
too short,
Yeah.
too good looking,
Yeah.
too beautiful,
Yeah.
too ugly,
Yeah.
too thin,
Yeah.
too fat,
Yeah.
too smart.
Yeah. Me. Yeah.
That's you.
Yeah.
You're not too dumb though, right?
No, never too dumb. Always too smart for somebody.
Right. But am I wrong or right? Isn't
yeah.
everybody too something for somebody?
Absolutely, and that's my point. My point is that we all have these crosses to bear to some people, and here
And so how are they handling that?
How are they
Are
handling
they
it,
stuck
right?
in what has happened
Right.
from being too something or
Yeah.
whatever? Or are they deciding to make a choice to say, I'm going to move through this
Yeah.
and I'm going to use this
Yeah.
situation to level up my game.
Exactly, and that's where it all comes from. And I'm gonna tell you where it comes from. It came from my grandmother when I was a little kid. My grandmother. Here's the funny thing. I grew up in a family full of light-skinned people.
Okay.
Everybody thinks they're freaking DeBarge or whatever. They're like,
And
what-
DeBarge is a singing group. If you don't know DeBarge,
yeah.
good-looking people,
Good-looking
mulatto
people.
family. The
Yeah.
father was Caucasian, the mother
Yeah.
was black,
Yeah.
and they're all very, very light, fair skinned, and
Yeah.
very talented
Yeah.
family.
So everybody thought that, they're like, wow, look at these guys. And stuff. So my grandmother, when I was born, and I didn't know she did it when I was born, as early as I can remember, as being like 4 or 5 years old, she would always greet me the same way. I love you because you're my very special chocolate child. You are so beautiful. You are so gorgeous. She would make a
She
big
made
deal.
sure that you understood that the fact that you do not have light-colored skin
Yeah.
doesn't make you less than any of the rest of us.
Oh, in fact, she went the opposite. She said I was more special. I was more gorgeous.
And you
I was
believed
more
her.
handsome.
And you believed
Yeah,
her.
because she's pounding this in my head. So my wife said, "Where does this arrogance come from?" Until she talked to who?
Yeah.
My grandmother.
Yeah.
My grandmother said, "Well, I'm sorry, baby. I put that in his head, and he been stuck."
But your grandmother was brilliant because she knew society was going to kick your butt with all that dark skin.
Yeah, she did.
In fact, not when I say society, let's don't blame it all on society and white people. Black people do it to each other.
Black people are the worst.
Do you know the brown paper? You familiar with the brown paper bag club?
Oh, yeah.
Come on, if your skin color is not lighter than that brown paper bag, then you're not in.
Absolutely,
Seriously?
Absolutely. Yeah. And so even going back to the holidays, let's talk about this. A lot of times people are in depression because of their circumstance.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So my circumstance is, and Arlene says this too, because we were in a situation where when we brought together our 8 kids, I got out of the military September of 1996.
Blended family, bringing it together.
We decided that we were going to take some time and really focus on our careers.
Right.
So I didn't want to rush out and just go get a job.
Right.
So we said for 6 months, I saved up some money that we told our kids, it was so crazy. All kids got 2 like fun presents, and then the rest were like gloves, scarves, underwear, clothes. We got all of that stuff. Now people today make themselves depressed over having to buy things for other people.
Okay.
They become very, very depressed. I have friends who say, "Oh, if I can't buy anybody anything, I'm very, very depressed." And Arlene always warns them and say, that should not be a reason for depression. Even if you give them a card, even if you make something even if you just tell them Merry Christmas, fine. But don't let that be a moment of depression.
Yeah, because you're creating depression.
Yes.
It's not just happening to you. You're actually creating it, again, by what you said earlier, by choice.
By choice.
And you don't even realize that you're doing that.
No, you don't.
Right? You don't even realize but you do, and it is creating a depression.
Yes.
And funny you should say that because Lisa and I manage the holidays differently. I'm not saying we're the only ones to do this.
Right.
But no one ever has shared with me that this is what they do. But I'm sure others do it.
Yeah.
What we've done in the holidays is the holiday period for us, and I'm going to say something, and it's not intended to be disingenuous to others that are participating in the holidays. I cast no judgment on that. If that's what you do, gift giving, presents, dinners and breakfasts, whatever you do,
right?
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
What Lisa and I chose to do, choice again, for the holidays, we use the holidays as a point of reflection.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said earlier.
Yeah.
We literally call it reflection.
Yeah.
And we use that time to reflect on the accomplishments, the gains, the wins, the positive stuff that has happened throughout that whole year. We literally talk about it.
Right.
Starting from the week before Thanksgiving to the first week in January.
Right.
That's our period of reflection.
Yeah.
And we actually pull back our giving.
Yeah.
We don't stop giving. We pull back on the giving.
Yeah.
And we let all other people that are competing with giving, Thanksgiving and Christmas, competing with gifts, and we let them do that.
Yeah.
We pull our game back.
Cool.
We slide into reflection.
Yeah.
You guys give. When you guys are done with the season of giving, we kick in the heart heavy giving, and we give all year long. Yeah. Why other people are not practicing that.
Right.
Let me stop talking for a second. What do you think about that concept?
You know what? I think that's a great concept. And I'll tell you, Arlene and I have always decided that we remind people of giving all year long during Thanksgiving. We say, you know what? It's cool that you want to celebrate one day, but you should be doing this all year long.
Funny you should say that. We don't say that to people. Yeah, we model it.
Yeah, we definitely tell people.
We don't say it, but we model it because I think it flips the concept.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
And so the other thing is how we used to do it in years ago. We used to. I would say, okay, let's reflect the period. So now let's write down and reflect all the stuff that we would try to. We'd beat our brains out trying to remember all the this, that, the this, to that.
Yeah.
And one year, I'd say it was probably 4 or 5 years ago, Lisa says, why do we wait to the end of the year to write it down?
Right.
Why don't we write it down along the
year.
way?
Yeah, she's smart. She's the brains of the outfit over here.
She says, I went, holy smokes, I never thought.
Yeah.
She says, why don't we write it along the
why
way? And then when we get into the season, then we just read them.
Yeah.
I thought, holy smokes.
Yeah.
Do you know our reflections like tripled?
Yeah.
When she said that. And so another way we use reflections is if we're getting our butts kicked by life in some fashion.
Yeah. That happens.
We go and read the reflections up to that point. And when you read about 4 or 5 of these, whatever's causing you challenge is minuscule compared to what you've already accomplished. Yeah. But you don't think about it. We forget about it. Do you agree?
Yeah. And you know, here's the thing. Like me and Arlene, we practice this all year long. Is number one, as Christians, what we do is we celebrate the birth of Christ and everything around it. Right. Everything has to do with Christ being born and the sacrifices that God made to His Son, and this is the place we come from. And also, when we talk about giving, we talk about giving in a sense where it's an organic. It's really not a giving of, oh, I'm gonna show you up. You know, like the commercial with the Nerf gun. You ever seen that commercial? Yeah. Where one mom brings in a Nerf gun, that's the little one. Then somebody brings in a big one. Right. Somebody bringing a big one.
Right. That's what we call competing.
Yeah. We're
the
not
season of competing with gift giving.
We're not into that.
No, we're not either.
And that goes back to, again, and I have to give my wife credit on that. It's like one time my son Thomas every year, no gift was good enough for him. I used to tell him that all the time. I said, but now that you got your kids. Right. Let's see if you're going to shower with gifts. But he's not even close to that. Right. So we talk about that all the time. Like, how do Christmas for us, even in that year when we brought the families together, was not about participating in the commercialism. It was about being thankful for what God has given us. God has brought this family together. Yes. You guys, this is who we are. And so if you got 2 gifts each, and you got clothes, and you got shoes, and you got stuff, this is all what you should be grateful for. Yes, I
love the fact that you guys bring in gratitude, because that's the part we haven't spoken on yet, and that's a huge part of what Lisa and I are doing too. During this period of reflection, it's really steeped and couched in gratitude.
Yeah. And I'll say this:
being grateful.
I think a lot of people today, and my grandmother used to call this keeping up with the Joneses.
Yes,
right.
Yes,
a lot of people want to,
drive the same car, live in the same neighborhood, wear the same clothes.
And so what happens during the holidays is people want to have the best Instagram story. Okay. The best Facebook story. And some people that I see on Facebook, honestly, I'm saying there's no way they can afford this, or there's no way they can do. And so when you later on see them depressed, or you see people who have been taking lavishing trips and then later on they're busted. You start thinking, like, are they depressed because they can't do those things anymore? Are they depressed because they're not able to afford those things? And see, that's the issue. A lot of times it's like we become depressed over things that are superficial.
And even if they're not depressed, they may be highly stressed.
Yeah, very much stressed.
It could be a combination of depression and stress, either or both.
Because don't you think that, like you said with Lisa and myself, is when you have to reflect on things because you're ill, now you're looking at things that matter versus things
you're looking at things that matter most.
You don't care about all that other stuff. The commercialism, the sensationalism, all that stuff goes out the window.
I 100% agree. Right? You focus on what matters most. Yeah. And quite frankly, that's what we've done with the whole reflection piece, is to be able to return to focusing on what matters most. Because as human nature goes, we remember the heavy negative stuff, and we forget the great positive things. We forget the wins. And our wins are not just about our wins. Our wins are about wins for clients, wins for companies, wins for families. If we're involved in anything that helps, even as a catalyst to help them get a leg up, or level up. Yes. We reflect on those are big wins too. Sure. We consider those big wins. Sure. And so, and I'll stop on this. I'll do my best to not keep going back to this reflection thing, but we were reading the reflections. She'll read 3 or 4 and I'll read 3 or 4 and move back and forth, and we'll for maybe 15 minutes or half an hour, then we stop. Yeah. Well, I got this idea this year, and we have a brother-in-law that is a voiceover specialist. He's got an incredible voice. we hired him, and I have them all separated by years.
Mhm.
So I sent them to him. We're hired his services because we want to hear his voice.
With the reflection.
Not my voice. I
Right.
want a different voice.
Mhm.
He's got this incredible voice. He does voice, like he does work for audiobooks and voiceover commercials and all that kind of stuff. Because he's trained and has got a great voice.
Yeah.
He is he's reading our reflections.
Right.
And it's incredible.
Good.
So now we can sit back and hear them. We're going to drop them into a Vimeo or YouTube with a password on it.
Awesome.
Put some images on it.
Right.
So now we can just sit back and when you
hear
hear it and they're
Great idea.
Isn't that a great idea?
I love
so
it.
now we get to actually experience it, not just hear it.
Yep.
And so what that also does is it allows us, to your point, what you said earlier, is to have great gratitude.
Yeah.
For the things that we're living for what we do have, not from what we don't have.
Well, and that's why it's great for you not only to reflect, but also for you to be thankful for the things that you do have.
Correct.
So if you have life, be thankful for that.
Right. Absolutely.
If you have a job, be thankful. That doesn't mean you become complacent.
Right.
But be thankful that right at this point in time, I have a way to provide for my family.
And then when you're thankful with that, then you have a responsibility to do something with it. I was having a conversation with a dear friend yesterday. I won't name names because, again, I didn't get permission. But we were talking about something else, but it teetered on living from what you do have versus what you don't have. And her concept was she was living from what she didn't have, waiting to put that into action.
Right.
She was going to put it into action when she got there. No, life doesn't start then. Life starts from right here, not from when you get there. Because when you get there, it's not what you think it was, and everything else has changed too.
Right.
So stop living from what you don't have. Start living from what you do have.
Yep.
There are people out there that would love the offering of what you do have,
Right.
even though in your mind it's not all of it. It's not perfect in the circle.
Exactly.
No, give what you do have.
Yeah.
Stop living from what you don't have.
Yeah. So and here's the thing. Like, even some people ask me many times about my business. Right. I choose to have a business that is family, that is supporting family, that is helping family, where family's helping us.
Sure.
So we have family members who participate in
Sure.
the business.
Sure.
It can be easily done, and with my network and the people I deal with, I could easily become a consultant and make a gob of money,
Right.
and not really deal with the employees, the paychecks,
Right.
the retreats, and all that kind of stuff. But I realized that there's a purpose bigger than me.
Right. I like that.
And you remember we had the conversation, like when you talk about some of the bigger people out there, who Tony Robbins and folks like that. Well, I saw a thing with Steve Harvey recently, and I thought it was pretty profound, and it made a lot of sense. He talks about his journey to the Apollo. I don't know if you ever saw that.
No, I did not. Is that on YouTube?
Yeah, it's on YouTube, and I saw it on Facebook.
His journey to the Apollo Theater?
Yeah, how he got to the Apollo Theater. And it's funny because he got a call to be at the Apollo, I think Sunday, and he didn't have enough money to get to New York City.
Wow.
And so he said he went and he got somewhat depressed.
Okay.
He became very frustrated, depressed, started crying, and he said, "Here's my one chance, and I can't make it."
Right.
Right. And he said he went to New York. He went back to his answering machine at the time, but he didn't listen to the second message. The second message was, "Steve Harvey, I need you to come to," another guy saying, "I need you to come if you can. I got a gig for you in Florida for $150.
Wow,
Right?
$150.
So he went there, and it was on a Friday. He went to do that gig, and then the guy said somebody didn't show up for the next day, so I got another $150.
Nice.
The guy gave him $300 essentially. He said he went right away and got him a ticket to New York. He got to the Apollo early that morning, but his gig wasn't until late at night, like 11 at night. And they were telling him, well, and he had his bags. So he said, they were like, "Okay, we'll come back later." He's like, "No, can I just stay here?" And I guess he stayed there. To make a long story short, D.L. Hughley was there. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was another performer. And who was the other one? Oh, it was Jamie Foxx.
Okay. Wow, what a lineup.
Those three before him got booed off the stage.
What?
And Jamie Foxx.
Oh no!
Jamie Foxx started to sing in the middle of his routine. And
in the middle of whose routine?
In the middle of his routine. In the middle of Jamie Foxx's routine.
Okay.
He started off with jokes, got booed. Started singing, got applause. Went back to jokes, and they booed him off the stage.
Wow.
So he goes down and he tells this joke. I don't know if you ever seen this routine. I saw it when he did it, and I was blown away. He did a routine about Mike Tyson getting into a fight in Harlem with Mitch Blood Green. Remember that?
No.
He was Mitch Green.
Oh yes, the fight. Yes, I do. Yeah, it was really
so
ridiculous.
Yeah, so he said he beat him up so bad that his eye started talking. So Steve Harvey does this joke about his eye talking. So the crowd went wild.
Right.
And they loved him. So the host of the show of Showtime at the Apollo at the time was who was it? Oh man. But anyway, whoever the host was at that time had gotten a full-time gig and quit. And so they brought in Steve Harvey to become the host. Time and timing.
Handshake, the right time. So that's an incredible story. This is a departure from what we're doing, but it's very important for a lot of people watching and listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
So there are many people, Shondell, that are living their lives and seeking to climb that ladder of success. And they think it's hard work. Yeah. They think it's intelligence. Yeah. They think it's knowing the right people. Yeah. They think it's being in the right place, blah, blah, blah. From the story that you just shared, what is your opinion on people that want to go from obscurity to prosperity? Yeah. What is your opinion? What is the formula for that, or what must they be doing and be in preparation for to do that?
That's a great question. Here's what I'll tell you, Jess, is that Dinesha Mingo and I have already kind of talked about that, which is, I'm glad you asked that question, because during Martin Luther King week on January 23rd, we're actually going to do this thing called a mindset of success.
Okay, talk to me.
And you and Lisa are welcome to join me in that, because the mindset of success is where you have to go.
Okay,
you can't rush success. You can't even define how your success is going to come.
And that's what I'm asking you.
Right? You can't define it.
And why not?
Because success is based on really based on a number of things coming together, just like in that story with Steve Harvey.
Yes.
It has to be opportunity. Then when you get the opportunity, you have to if you're prepared like he was, you knock people out socks off. And even going back to my own story of, I never thought I was going in gaming and hospitality. Never even dreamed, it never even crossed my mind growing up in New York, or even being in the military, that I'd be in gaming and hospitality.
Right.
But when Felix Rappaport, who was with MGM at the time, says, "Hey, Shondell, I got an opportunity for you," right? I'm saying, for what? He's saying, "I know you can do this." I'm saying, I don't know what this is, right? But the thing that he was talking about was leadership, was understanding, and he didn't even know my marketing background.
Right.
So he didn't know that.
But he knew your character and your personality,
that's
and he bought that. And here we go again. Felix Rappaport did that for you.
Yeah.
Larry Lewin did the same thing for me. Yeah. And when Larry Lewin and his father, Aristocrat Gaming, took over the Sands back in 1989, and I was a floor person at the Westwood Ho at that time.
The Ho.
The
Westwood. You were a Ho at the what?
I was Westward. You
were Westward.
The other people were the Hoes.
Okay, got you. So I do this to Jess all the time, but he catches it.
Yeah, I got you. I wasn't the Ho. I was the Westward part of that. So I went over to the Sands and just happened to be cruising through and ran into him, and he said, "I need you to come talk to me." I said, "Okay, I'd like to do that." And he said, "I'd like to give you an opportunity to get out of operations," which is exactly what I wanted. He gave me an opportunity to be a coordinator in the marketing department. And he says, "I want you to run our junket rep division." I said, he said, "Do you think you can do that?" I said, "Of course I can do that."
Right.
I left him. I went right down to the Gambler's Bookstore in downtown Las Vegas.
Yeah, I know where it is.
And I researched until I found a book on junkets. Cause I didn't even know what a junket or a junket rep was.
Yeah, you were doing like me. I did the same thing.
Yeah, I didn't even know what it was. I had to go learn what it is. And so anyway, from there, it was from that opportunity. So let's come back to the circle. So you're talking about the mindset of success.
Mindset of
Is
success.
are you saying that that is the key ingredient and
Yes.
that is the key vehicle
Yeah.
that takes someone from obscurity to prosperity
Yeah.
that becomes the Steve Harvey that nobody knows
Right.
to the Steve Harvey that's now he's
Not
mega
Kings of
success.
Comedy, right?
Right.
So and the thing is this is that you said a word that I want to put people onto. Character.
Yes.
Because I think what was seen in you and what was seen in me was character.
Absolutely.
And remember, here's the fallacy of what people don't get. I just get so frustrated when people don't understand that Dr. King's dream, the biggest part of his dream, in my opinion, is you want to be judged by the content of your character. Now, what people missed on that is they get caught up in ethnicity, they get caught up in the color of your skin.
Yes.
What he's saying is if you have great character, you can be measured against everybody.
And guess what? Most people don't realize that they can shift upwards and grow and evolve their character.
Yes.
We're all born with a certain core personality. That's why we do the color code. The color code helps with that.
Yeah, it does.
So the
Big
color
time.
code gives the 4 distinctions.
Yeah.
Reds are powered by getting things done and moving from point A to point B. They like to be on it. And reds will do the study and do the work and whatever. Blues are motivated by intimate conversation. They like reality. They don't care for talking about the weather. Yellows are motivated by fun, and whites are motivated by inner peace.
Right.
So when you get that, you'll get those distinctions on a pie chart. I'll give you the whatever percentages.
I got a good breakdown. What color was I?
You are red, yellow.
Red, yellow.
Yep. You're primary red,
Yep.
secondary yellow, which
Yep.
means you're motivated by getting things done and execution.
Yep.
And then once that's done, you want to lighten up and have some fun.
That's
By
it.
the way, you speckle in that yellow thing all the time. You're always speckling in that yellow thing.
I am.
That's why you sneak in with that funny stuff, because that's where your mind just goes there, right? So you actually use the foundation of your character, the result of those 4 parts, quite strategically.
Yeah.
You also know when to shut your face.
Yeah.
So that now you're using the white perspective where you're listening.
Yeah.
Whites tend to listen very, very well. They like inner peace. They don't like conflict or confrontation. It's not the conflict or confrontation that you are avoiding.
Yeah.
It is the listening part that you step up your game on.
Yeah.
So you are really adept at the white portions, the blue, the yellow, the red. Even before color code, you were already doing it.
And I'm gonna tell you.
Does that make sense?
No, it makes a lot of sense. But I'll tell you what's amazing about the color coding process is, one, if you can be consistent in your colors, people recognize that and they recognize your character. And guess what? They either utilize it for their strength and what they wanted, like Felix did, or they'll say, you know what, I can't really deal with Shondell because he's this way. But on the other side, because I can assess other people's colors, I can tell how to motivate them and deal with them.
And thank you. So what you're saying is the number one thing for color code is we help people get themselves.
Yeah. And get others.
And then we help you get over yourself.
Yeah.
So that you can get others.
Yeah.
And so the second thing is what you just said is we teach you how to speak the language of others.
Yeah. Which is the key to leadership.
It's a master thing in leadership. Because leadership, I love what John Maxwell says, leadership is influence.
Yeah.
And the best way to get influence with people is to let them know you get them and you understand them and you can speak their language because that's the language they know.
Yeah.
So you're born with your personality at the base level. Think of a pyramid. At the base level is the personality. That's yours. It's innate. It's who you are.
Yep.
You can shift and grow that personality as you rise up the pyramid to a charactered perspective by focusing, like you said on Martin Luther King, the content of your character.
Right.
You can do something with that.
And I'll tell you, I told my son, because my son said, Dad, you always make everything sound like it's so simple. I said, let me tell you something, son. The issue is because you're not following this code of character thing.
Right.
That's what depresses you.
And it's going to be a constant hang up.
Frustrating.
It's going to be a constant hang up. It's going to hold him back.
And that's what holds.
In fact, so how's your son?
He's 29.
29. He's perfect. So your son will be in our January 18th workshop at the JW Marriott.
Yeah.
It's going to be from 8 in the morning until 4.
Yeah.
It's the power of communication, and we're gonna focus on the color code, and we're gonna color code everybody in that room. Yeah. Your son must be one of them.
Yeah,
this is gonna blow him up when he sees the quality of what he can actually do starting from that workshop forward,
Yeah.
he can shift up level his
Well,
character.
you know that but that's the challenge for most people when it comes to success. You know that, right? Is that they don't recognize those things.
Right.
And,
They,
and,
they,
and
don't, they don't
so,
even know what they don't.
yeah.
They don't even know that they don't know that.
Yeah, and like you said, it's like me getting the confirmation or affirmation from the color coding that you did. You know, for me, it helped me to say, okay, I'm in that right direction.
Yes.
So when I sit down with the Urban Chamber, which we did our kickoff of 2020 with the new board of directors, I'm very confident in the fact that where we're going and what God has given me to lead the group with is in lockstep.
Yes.
And I think that's when people say you're cocky or you're too confident or whatever they want to say, it's because you do understand the content of your character.
Yes.
And you don't allow others to sway that opinion.
Yeah.
You just don't allow other people to rent space in your mind, and they're like, okay, Shondell, you're wrong. And I always say, no, I'm right, and you need to shut up because you have no space here, right? And you got to really be strong in that. That's where I know my son is weak. I know he is. I told him that. I said, you have all these people around you who are not, they're looking to you, but you are allowing them to pull you into their space.
And many people do that. Your son's making a mistake that
Yeah.
many people make that mistake.
Because to me, it's because there are a few of us who, and it's not arrogance. It's just there are a few of us who are very, very sure about where we want to go and what we want to do. There are many people who are not there.
Right. And so
they want you to come here.
Right.
Because it's easier for them to identify.
Right.
You ever get that? Hey, I don't know you anymore.
Right.
Well, I know why you don't know me.
Right.
Because you haven't come here yet.
Right.
I'm on Mars and you sitting here on Earth.
Right. So, a whole different zone.
Right.
No, so that's huge. So coming full circle on the point. So you make the point about the Steve Harvey. You tell that story for what reason? I mean, I'm sure there's a good reason why you're telling that.
The reason is because sometimes we become depressed over things and don't find the clarity. Right, I could have easily become depressed over being a diabetic. I can become depressed about having to sit in the hospital. I can become depressed about going to see my doctor, and he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna give you some meds. You got to do this, do that," because I hate meds.
Sure.
But I didn't take it that way. I just took it as, okay, there's a sign of there's some other things that I have to do, and then I took it as an opportunity to educate other people about diabetes, about how they can handle diabetes, about how they can do diet. I didn't go into oblivion and go hide out and go, oh man, this sucks. Why are you doing this to me, God? Because I felt like if it's done to a person like me, I can educate others.
I love what you said about educating others, because you said, well, if it's done to a person like you, you can educate others.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to finish up. Let me just step in for a second. We just got the opportunity. It's a double back opportunity. Decode Digital out of Houston, Texas. We got the opportunity to fly to Houston, and we color code everybody that comes in that organization. And we were doing a level up summit,
right?
And a leadership level up for that too.
Level up.
Yeah. That's the yellow in you, by the way, coming out right now.
I heard that came in my head though. It's like,
that's a good one. You have to give me that song because I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a song.
No, I want to look it up after we get off the air on this.
It's a little later than me, but
no, but I want to hear it because I can maybe use that for something because I never heard of that.
You definitely can.
So we did that with them. It was a 3-day program that we did, and awesome. And we had 34 millennials in a room talking about the power of the color code.
Right.
And I can tell you they're going to use that to advance. We come home a few days later, then we get to connect with MGM Grand, or MGM Resorts International, and we've teamed up to do a leadership and communication workshop featuring the color code.
Mm-hmm.
And we got their top executives in a room at the MGM Grand, and I'm telling you, I wish I could share the takeaways that this group got from the color code. It is phenomenal.
Yeah.
They wanted more. It made them hungry.
Yeah.
They wanted more.
Yeah.
Now they want to do a full day.
Well, you know why? Because again, it goes back to the more people understand themselves, the more people understand who they are and how they, like you said, get over themselves, and then how they deal with other people.
Yes.
It makes for a powerful organization.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine?
Imagine
a multi-billion-dollar organization like that if they would allow us to color code, starting with all their leaders and have process, not just a
Yeah,
one-off,
yeah,
and then have them trickle that down
yeah.
to the people below. You can imagine how much.
Can you imagine this? And so I'll give you this one. Can you imagine if you had to color code the Little Rascals?
Oh my gosh! Tell me more.
The Little Rascals. So, so for our listeners and viewers, especially like
Ham and eggs can't talk.
Right.
They talking to me now.
Right now. So that's like Spanky, Alfalfa,
Yeah.
Buckwheat, the whole gang. I know they revet, but we're talking about the old ones.
Right.
The He-Man Women Haters Club.
Yeah.
So just imagine all these different characters. The one thing about that group, they all knew each other.
Right.
They knew each other's strengths.
And they
knew
got
each
each other,
weaknesses.
and they learned from one another.
They learned from one another. And Darla would make Alfalfa go goofy and Spanky, and Spanky's pissed off because you just see all of these characters.
Yeah.
Right. And you got Alfalfa, and you got Buckwheat, and you got you just go down the line, right? Warring. What do you call him? Warring? Right? Yeah, you got all these different. So just imagine how these guys all, whenever they had their hijinks, they always came together,
Right.
and they always knew who did what,
And there was a rhythm.
and there was a rhythm to it. So imagine an organization that runs like that.
No,
right?
that'd be huge.
Man,
And that is our goal, is to be able to get into organizations and be that sort of a catalyst for that change.
yeah.
Lisa, is there anyone asking any questions or anything?
Well, I
we
see
wanna...
Donna Davis. Donna says hi, Lisa. Leah Crawford.
Hello, Leah. Hello, Donna.
Yeah, I see Raven.
Hey there, Raven.
works with us, so Raven is definitely benefiting from her experience with Some New.
Awesome.
It's a family environment. She's just like blown away by the fact that everybody sees on social media. I know Lisa's on there all the time, going like liking and sharing and laughing with us. We are truly a family.
Yeah, there's no
right?
doubt about it.
You guys know, you guys are a family. We don't have friends, we got family members.
Yeah.
And so it's really deep down where we get to know each other. We get to know people.
Right.
I think going back to even our topic, people become depressed because of the image that they have
Right.
for family.
Right. So let's remind you,
Yeah.
in case people came in late. So the topic is: are the holidays a time for celebration or depression?
Yeah, and for me, it's celebration. It's celebration because I get to see my girl. She had surgery. She got this cast on and everything. I get to watch Jess wait on her hand and foot. It's kind of cute. So,
and I don't mind doing it.
I know he loves it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, honey, you want me to go get this? So
You look just like me, goofy and all. How you know my teeth was sticking out like that?
We get to have a good time with each other. It's just, and so that's really what I look forward to. The holidays to me has nothing to do, like I miss my father, I miss my grandmother, I miss my grandfather, I miss some of my cousins.
But you also celebrate what you have gained from them. Lisa, were you going to say something?
What I gained from them, for sure.
I just want to say Midge Porter's on.
Hey, wait, hold on. Hey there, Midge Porter.
Donna Del Porto.
Donna Del Porto. Wow. Let me stop for a second. I just reconnected with Donna Del Porto. Don Del Porto or Donna Del Porto. Donald Del Porto was a real dear friend, is a dear friend of mine. We were super close in high school, and we were actually getting an opportunity to regain that closeness again.
Cool.
And I got a chance to speak to his mother.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't talked to her in many years,
Mm-hmm.
and incredible. This was my first indoctrination into my first Italian family.
Wow.
The Del Portos of Hawthorne
Right on.
taught me a whole lot about life and
Right.
and how to live a quality life.
And how to eat like 5 meals.
Oh, you didn't go to Donna Del Porto's house and didn't get fed.
yeah.
Even when you weren't hungry, you had to eat
You better
something.
come with empty stomach.
She was amazing. So,
Oh, yeah.
so I went from the Del Portos
Yeah.
in high school, and I still hold them.
Mhm.
And then I had the Morantos in college,
Mm-hmm.
and then I've got in professional life I got the Donatos,
Mm-hmm.
and there's one more I'm trying to think of, and then I graduated, not putting anybody else down on my Italian family, just keep going up
Yeah.
to the Ciccones out of Vancouver, Canada. So,
Right on.
but if it wasn't for the Donna and Donald Del Portos of Hawthorne, Nevada,
Mm-hmm.
I may not have learned the lure of learning that culture and that
Yeah.
society and that group. So,
Yeah.
who else? Donna Del Porto's watching. Who else?
York.
Amy York. Give me a break. Amy York out of Florida. Hey there, Amy. That's so cool.
What part of Florida?
She is in. Ooh, what part is she in?
I got family. in
Oh,
Florida.
tell Amy to tell us because I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah.
Okay, let us know, Amy.
Because they just moved. No, the husband just moved back home, and I can't think of it because I got too much on my mind right
Bill
now.
Bray.
Bill Bray he's out of Carson City, I believe.
I know Bill.
Bill Bray, well, he's a chiropractor, the last I knew.
Yeah.
And
was he a legislator?
No, there is a Bray in the legislation, or was.
Okay.
Bill Bray is a former high school classmate, so
Okay.
he's a dear friend.
Cool.
Who else?
Michael White.
Michael White, that is my nephew. Hello,
Yeah.
hello to Michael.
Lori
Yeah.
Vanden there.
So how come
Lori, hey to Lori.
how is it that all the time, like, people with the last name Black are white and people with the last name White are black?
Like, why is that, you say?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Weird to me.
I
I don't know. That's just one of those.
I think
Like Snow White.
no, I think that's
Your
the
niece?
yeah. I think that's the yellow in you coming out. Is what that is. That's yellow meaning he's motivated by fun. He's having fun right now,
Like,
so you know. So what else, Liz?
Terry Pastorius, who was our Uber driver.
Oh, this guy
Valley.
Terry was amazing. So at our last speaking engagement in Reno, SNC Sierra Nevada Corporation, this Terry, this guy, in fact, I don't care what you believe, it's your choice. Lisa and I believe it was God ordained that we were with Terry.
Okay.
We got in the wrong Uber for the first time ever. It was the first time he ever allowed the wrong passenger in his Uber
Oh, wow.
ever.
Wow.
It's never happened to him, and it's never happened to us either, right?
No.
Yeah.
Right? And so we're going. I'm whispering, Lisa, I think he's going in the wrong direction.
Mm-hmm.
And I know where, and I said, unless he's got some, and finally I said, are you headed? And he goes, no. And he said, no. And so he goes, oh, I picked up the wrong passenger. We were supposed to be with him. Am I right, Lisa?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just speak loudly, Lisa. Tell him how powerful that experience was when we did that with him.
It was just like you and Jess getting together.
Yeah.
And you bring tears to my eyes, and I'm like, you guys need to do something with this gift.
Yeah.
The power of their conversation was back and forth, the sharing and back and forth, and it was like, okay, this was absolutely.
We were
fine.
supposed to be with Terry Pastori in
time.
that car at that time.
Yeah.
Right.
He lifted us up,
Yep.
and we lifted him up.
Right.
All the way up
Good
to Tahoe, all the way back down from
That's
Tahoe.
good,
Am I
man.
right?
Yeah.
That's real good.
So it was amazing. So by the way, Donna Del Porto is in Reno now as well,
Oh,
along
cool.
with Donald Del Porto, who also lives in Reno. So
Right.
so great hello to them. So basically, we're talking about
On Leah Crawford. Leah did the color. Right?
yeah, and Leah did the color code as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Leah does our taxes and things like that. So-
Leah's a solid professional.
Yes.
You get what you pay for with her.
Yeah. She was raving about the color code.
And let me rave
Yeah.
about the quality of her showing up because she showed up and played full out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping she's considering
that.
for our no. She in fact, quite frankly, she was very contemplative. I can tell you exactly where Leah Crawford was sitting. The room is shaped like this.
Yeah.
I got 3 rows.
Yeah.
Leah was in the last row. She was the first person on the corner on the. When we speak to audiences, I can tell you exactly where everybody was sitting.
Yeah.
I can tell you she was sitting right at that. She would have been the first person that you touched to come up that aisle to come up to the
Where was
first
I
row.
sitting?
You were sitting in the hospital. And you were supposed to be sitting in the back row or the front row.
But you're going to be
Right.
sitting in the front row.
In the
You're gonna be
front
sitting in
row.
the front row on January 18th.
And I'm gonna be like Horseshack.
Yeah.
Mr. Carter.
Lisa, please call his assistant and tell him we need to get some more meds for him because
Mr. Carter.
he's leaning too much on his yellow right now. Yeah. So
nobody knows what Horseshack is.
right, yeah,
right?
they knew
I do.
Horseshack
I
from.
remember Horseshack.
Yeah, that was from Welcome Back, Kotter,
Welcome Back,
right?
Kotter.
Yeah.
Mr. Carter.
Yeah. So what can we do to center on celebration and move through other emotions? What can we do as people listening and watching this so that they do not let the holidays become humdrum or
Yeah.
depressive or negative or hard, or not to focus on the people that we've lost or to celebrate the people.
Yeah.
How do we get them to shift their emotions?
Yeah.
What can you share with them? Just a short, quick, because we're
Well,
going to be ending the session here pretty soon.
Acknowledge the people who have passed,
Okay.
but celebrate in the memories that they gave you.
Okay, I like that.
So don't sit around and cry. Sit around and say, "Well, Dad brought this. Do you remember when Dad did this? Ha ha ha!" It's just like when you're grieving at a funeral. At my father's funeral, we chose to make it a celebration. Everybody was freaking out about. They thought we were cracking up or we were crazy, but we decided that this was going to be a celebration of his life and not of his death.
Right.
His life meant more.
Right.
So the holidays. Let's break out the photos, let's break out the videos, but let's have a whole lot of fun and let's do what they would want us to do.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
I like that. That's good. And then if someone is going through some troubled times, some difficulties, financial challenges, loss of job. I mean, literally
Yeah.
a number of years ago, we lost our biggest client on Christmas Eve. We got a notice from our biggest client saying, don't charge our credit cards. And it was, Lisa and I, before I tell you what we did about that, I'm not going to go too deep on it.
Yeah.
What can people do?
Yeah.
What would you recommend to people that are going through a difficult time or hardship right now during the holidays? Because I think the holidays further impact difficult times.
I'm a big proponent of people getting that stuff out of their head.
I like that.
So my friend Dinesha, wonderful Mingo MHS Behavioral Services.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of understanding your grief, understanding your depression, before things get way out of control, get to understand yourself. I'm a big fan of sitting down, having those conversations with people who can help you work through that.
I like
Big
that.
fan of that.
I like that.
Mhm.
So Lisa and I learned when we went to South Africa a saying that I've shared before: "Imuntu, ingamuntu, ingabantu." Imuntu, ingamuntu, ingabantu. And that stands for people are people because of others, which is what you just said.
Yeah.
Use the connection of others. When I got off that conversation with Donna Del Porto, I can't wait for my next conversation with her. It was magical. This lady, I'm not going to even say her age. I'm just going to say she feels as bright and as warm as when I was 16 years old, sitting in her living room in her kitchen and going down in the basement and boxing with her son. And,
Awesome.
And she's the same energy.
Yeah.
An amazing energy.
Right.
And if you can take anything from people that have lived a prosperous life, take that we want to gain that energy, that resonance.
Yeah.
That resonance. There's a thing called sympathetic resonance.
Right.
Sympathetic resonance
Yeah.
has to do with energy and how we connect with one another. I
Yeah.
think we should do a program on sympathetic resonance
I agree.
next time and
Yeah.
talk about how do we gain that, how do we level up and get that
Yeah.
solid positive energy, especially when things are not going well, and then how does that spread to others, and what is the phenomena of sympathetic resonance, because it has to do with how energy spreads from one to another.
Yeah.
So that's a really good one.
And celebration to me is not about things and not about how big things are, not about how big your tree is.
Right.
Celebration is being with people.
Yes.
Having a good time. I remember my grandson.
And being with yourself as well.
Being with yourself. I remember my grandson one time, his parents both had to work, and he was a little bitty guy, 5 years old. We had to pick him up from school. My son and his baby, the mom had to work. So we said, we're going to make sure that he has a very nice birthday.
Nice.
So me and my wife went and got him a cupcake and a couple of bubbles and a couple of toys. And he never forgets that. Just a cupcake.
Nice.
Didn't have a whole bunch of friends. Didn't have Barney there. Didn't have, the baby shark and all that. It was just me, him, Arlene, and a cupcake.
I like that.
So people need to think about that moment. It could be that intimate, that small, and it's a celebration.
It really is a celebration. And you're couching that celebration. As we close this program, Shondell is couching that celebration on a concept that he and I both live, as well as Lisa. And that concept, to close out our holiday celebration over depression conversation, is we believe there's a profound way that you can make that happen.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say it, and you and Lisa will finish it.
Absolutely.
It's all about how you leave them feeling.
Yes, sir.